Rule 5, build larger teams for some meetings. Naturally, when you bring more people together with more different ideas, if your goal is in fact to create a lot of ideas, that's a good idea. And naturally, if your goal is to narrow things down and come to a decision, you'll want to have smaller teams. Let's take a look at what that structure and the application of different amounts of structure can do to help get you a higher level result. So one of the companies that's a real expert in these kinds of processes is Luma Institute. So Luma helps train teams on what they call innovation literacy. So practices and ways of thinking and ways of approaching problems that help bring out the most innovative and unique ideas ever. And I recently participated in an event with them where we used one of their brainstorming techniques. So, in traditional brainstorming, you might get that big group of people together and say, hey, let's brainstorm a big list of cool ways to run a party. And you'd take the pen out and look up at the whiteboard and say, okay, Fred, what's your idea? And he'd say, punch, and we'd put up punch. And because Fred had said punch, everybody else's ideas would be, and then we should probably have some water, and then maybe some coffee for the people who like coffee. And you'd kind of be anchored on that first idea and limited based on the number of ideas you can hear and write down at once. So usually with a method like that, regardless of the number of people you've got, we tend to find if you get 10 to 20 ideas in a 10-minute stand, not great, right? Not great. In the Luma example, we did a different technique. So first of all, one of the things you want to do when you brainstorm with a group like that is to use individual brainstorming. So we're not listening to Fred's idea and all stuck on the punch. We're all thinking of our own ideas quietly in our own head, and give people some individual silent brainstorming time to write those ideas down. So step 1 in this method is that everybody gets a stack of sticky notes and they individually write down as many ideas as they can think of for this fabulous party. One idea per sticky note, okay? Second way in which this method provides more structure to get more ideas is it solves the blank slate problem, right? So when Fred is asking, hey, how many ideas do we have for a party? The Luma technique asks you instead to brainstorm in categories. So rather than just ideas for a party, we break it down. So who are the different kinds of audience that will be at the party? We've got kids will be there, and parents, and singles, and maybe our neighbors. And then we think, what are the kinds of elements that go into parties at a very, very high level? And we break those down. So we've got, food and games and tech and, maybe a theme. What's our theme going to be? And with that, you've got yourself a grid. So rather than thinking of general ideas, I'm thinking about what would be awesome food for kids in a summer party. So much easier, right? Like, okay, that's hot dogs and popsicles and, cotton candy machine. Whereas the food for singles, that might be a different list. So now you've solved the blank slate problem, and you've solved the problem where everybody's hearing everybody else's ideas because it's all coming in their own heads. So we ran this exercise twice, and one with just these simple categories. And we were broken into groups of 5 or 6, and each group came up with, 50 to 60 ideas in a 5-minute standpoint. Pretty awesome. Way better than the 10 we were getting otherwise. Then Luma took it one step further. Each group around the room was asked to do the exercise one more time, but this time think about it as if they were acting on behalf of one of the big innovation companies. So our group was saying, okay, we're doing the best ever summer party, and we want to know, what to do for the kids and the parents and the games and the tech, and we're going to approach this party as if we were Disney. Now what? Right? Now what? Oh my gosh, the roof is blown off. Disney can do great summer parties. And another team around the room, they approached the party as if they were NASA. And another one did it as if they were Cirque du Soleil, right? So with these layers of structure, the categories, silent brainstorming, the imagine as if you were one of these companies with great ideas that does great innovative things, our teams were coming up with 100, 120, 130 ideas in the span of 8 to 10 minutes. So that's the kind of structure you need to help unlock results. And the more people you have involved, that with the structure like that, it just scales. It's no problem. You can add more people in, no problem, because they're not impacting each other or writing over each other. That's the way to build larger teams and get lots and lots of ideas out of that time.